Yo guys, welcome back to the Limit 1 Festival. As you can see, it is here. So we are going to play this new event where we can only play one card each of each copy, and I will show you the best two decks I think that you can pick for this event if you have the cards. We will also take a look at the loner decks, and I will show you how I think these are. So the first deck I want to show you, which I think is very nice, but not the strongest deck. I will show you the strongest deck in a moment, is Tearlament's Horrors variant. So obviously we want decks, or we want to play decks, and don't you worry, I will go over card by card. I will name every card after I explained this deck. So obviously the good thing is we want decks that really do play a lot of one-offs, even if they can play three-offs. So this is what we are looking for, and there are a few decks, but a lot of decks just need their multiple copies in order to work and to run. So that does not leave us with a lot of decks that will be really effective here. But I think Tearlament's Kashtira Horrors, a mix of these is one of them. So we obviously want to play hand traps as much as we can, because we can't play a lot. We can't play the Effect Valor, we play an Ash Blossom. We also are playing the Bystials, because I would expect a lot of Tearlaments, to be honest here. We can play an Nibiru, we can play a Duster. I play stuff like a Talons. I would definitely play a Pot, because this is obviously one of the best cards in this event entirely, because now you need even more specific access to specific cards that obviously is provided by the Pot of Prosperity, banishing 6, and you are also playing the Zodiac package, or you can play the Zodiac package if you have it, because these are definitely, well, this is a package that you only need one of each, so that really works. And then obviously for the extra deck, it's not that big of a limitation for most decks, because in most decks you're only playing one-offs anyway, so that doesn't really make a difference here. We're also playing two level 7s, so that if we can achieve some Kashtira plays, and that obviously you can also get back with your birth, and then you can also go for level 7s. We have the Sarcophagus, which gives us access to the Zombie Vampire if we can achieve it, and having them at 1 is not that bad, honestly, because you basically only need one. The only sad part is that you would want more MSETIs in order to even get to your Sarcophagus. So we are playing an Effect Valor, we are playing an Ash Blossom, Tearlament Halfness, we are playing a Fairy Tail Snow if you have it, Danger, Mothman. We can play the Danger cards in here because we have some free spots that we need to fill. Supreme Seema, another Tearlament's Reinhardt, basically Tearlament Chiron. And the funny thing about the Tearlament cards is most of them are at 1 anyways, so you don't lose a lot here. Tearlament's Reinhardt, definitely the most saddest thing to lose here is the Reinhardt, because Reinhardt is the best starter that you can get getting into Kid Kalos. We have Keldo, we have Mudora, we have Bystial Magnamut, Bystial Baldrake, Destrudo the Lost Dragon, then we have Danger Nessie, we have Kashtira Fenrir, Kashtira Unicorn. Obviously Tearlament's Kashtira also at 1 in the normal games, so it doesn't really matter. We have MSETI, we have Happy, we have a Nip, we have a Happy's Feather Duster, Foolish Burial, Reinforcement of the Army, Foolish Burial Goods, Fusion Deployment. Obviously very nice to get you into your Rhino Hearts. So we basically have 1, 3, 2, 3, 4 Rhino Hearts if you want to look at it that way. So even though the consistency lags a bit here, it's actually not that hard to re-achieve it through the means of the Supreme Seema and the Fusion Deployment, which are cards you normally would not play in this deck. You have two Protecting Talents, we have Pot of Prosperity, Tearlament's Grief, so we basically have a one-off of all the Tearlament cards. We have Primitive Planet Pearl Rhino, we have the Scream, we have Kashtira Birth, we have a Sarcophagus, we have 1 Caught by 1 Crossout, because Crossout makes a lot of sense. You have so many like one-off strange cards in here that you will always hit a lot of targets. We have a Forbidden Droplet, because why not? It's just a good one-off. Then we have Tearlament's Heartbeat, Tearlament's Meta Noise, Trivikama, Tearlament's Crime, and Zodiac. You can also put something like an Evenly Match in here if you want. Then we have a Kid Kalos, a Dracostopedia, a Rule Kalos, a Kaleido Heart, and a Abyss Dweller, Zodiac Trident, Zodiac Boa, Zodiac Draconine. We have Time Thief, Redoer, SP, IP, Zeus, the Zombie Vampire, and a Dark Arm Dragon of Annihilation. Feel free to change out these level 7 monsters or any of the extra deck stuff if you want to. I had a super polymerization here, but then realized, okay, having a lot of extra deck space for only having 1 super polymerization in the main deck maybe doesn't really make sense. So now let me show you the best deck, which I think really will be the best deck, and it's a no-brainer. This is the deck that came to my mind first when I thought about, okay, a limiting one. In my opinion, best deck is Branded deck, honestly. I have copied my 60-card version, and then I just basically put everything out that I couldn't have duplicates of. Obviously, this makes makes the deck less consistent. But we have one Branded Fusion anyway. And for example, only 2 Aluber. The only really sad thing I would say is having 1 Fallen of Albaz. So you really need to manage this 1 Fallen of Albaz effectively. You also have the Albion the Shrouded in the graveyard as a Fallen of Albaz, which if we could play more, we would play more. But yeah, Branded Despia has a lot of one-offs that you are playing with anyway, so that's not a big problem. You are looking for specifically these decks if you want to look through your own decks that you have already built and ask yourself the question, which one of these could be good here in this event. Then just take a look at how many one-offs there are in the deck. Obviously, every deck has its starters that you want to have 3 offs in. So for example, we want 3 fusion deployments, but we can't. But if you don't have too many of these starters, so for example in the Snake Eyes deck, which obviously would also be something that you could play, and I think you also can play it if you want to, but in the Snake Eyes deck, we are playing triple Bonfire, we have 2 Wanteds, we want 2 of the Flame Birch, we have 2 Ashes, we have triple Diabellstar. So you have a lot of multiples that you also really want to have in order for the combo to work optimally. But for Branded Despia, you definitely don't need all these 3 offs. It just makes the deck a bit less consistent, though I think you still will be fine. We have an Effect Veiler, once again the hand traps here, we have the Despian Tragedy. Normally you only play this at 1. We have an Ash Blossom here, you can substitute for a Keeper of Dragon Magic. This can also search a Branded Fusion for the cost of a hand card, which is normally not that great, but definitely nice in this variant here. Unfortunately, 1 Fallen of Albaz, this is definitely the choke point. We have 1 Aluber, that's fine. We have 1 Tri-Brigade Mercurio, also fine. Some people only play this at 1. We have a Kit, that's nice. It also gives us access to our Branded Fusion, really cool. So Branded Fusion access, I think it's not a problem. The Albaz is the problem. We have Blazing Cartesia, it's cool. Normally you would play 2 maybe. We want 2 Quem normally, but 1 is okay. This definitely works, doesn't make that big of a difference. 1 Magna Mood, 1 Saronir, 1 Druid Worm. You can play the Puppet if you want to. I will have to see how easy it will be to summon the Puppet with only 1 Fallen of Albaz, because normally you want to recycle 1 Fallen of Albaz, or you will recycle 1 Fallen of Albaz during your first turn for the Mirror Jade, and then you would normally need another one in the graveyard in order to make the Albion. So I'm not quite sure how effective this can be, honestly. So yeah, this might go out if it doesn't really work. We have Dogmatica Maximus. I really like the Maximus, the Nadir Servant Maximus package to dump stuff from the extra deck. I think this is really effective. Though if there are a lot of Telemans players and other brand players, then I will put this out. We have 1 Albion, 1 the Bestial Lubelion. You would only play this at 1 anyway. Nibiru, we have 1 Duster, we have a Foolish Burial, we play this at 1. Gold Sarcophagus at 1. We have 1 Allure, which should work. We have a lot of dark monsters here, but could also prove to be a bit risky, on the riskier side, and then I might put it out. We have 1 Fusion Deployment. Obviously, we would want 3 of these. We have 1 Nadir Servant. This is totally fine. I think this 1-1 ratio here, Triple Tactics. The pot again, 1 Branded in white, 1 Branded Fusion, 1 Thrust for the Fusion Duplication, 1 Branded Lost, 1 Called by Crossout. Obviously, you would want another Called by and Crossout for the Ash, but then again, there's only 1 Ash, so that might be not the biggest problem. 1 Branded Opening, 1 Branded in High Spirits, Branded in Red, ein evenly matched, 1 Infinite Impermanence, 1 Branded Banishment, 1 Fusion Dupli, and 1 Branded Retribution. And really, by going through these cards here, you realize how many of these cards you would only play as a one-off anyway. We have 1 Muttering, we have 1 Garura, we have 1 Predator Plant, we have 1 Titanic Lad, we have 1 Albion, we have 1 Despian, we have 1 Mirror Jade, we have 1 Lubelion, we have 1 Alba Lenatus, we have 1 Granguignol, we have 1 Rindbrom, we have 1 Albion, we have 1 Guardian Chimera, 1 Despian, Lulua Lilith, and 1 Predator Plant Verte Anaconda, which you can also always use to make a Mirror Jade even. Also to make even a Mirror Jade. Okay, these are the decks I would say are the best ones, Branded Despia being the better of the two, so the best and most effective one I would say is Branded Despia in some form or shape. But let's also look at the loner decks and let's find out which of these are the best ones. We have Coalition of Sagacious Spellcasters, so a Spellcaster one, okay. Very interesting. We're also playing an Albaz here, and but playing not really a Mirror Jade, okay. The invoked fusions that by themselves don't really have that amazing of effects. Invoked Mechaba, the hand traps here are few and far in between. This doesn't really look that amazing. I mean, you have this core here that's intact, I would say, with Fleur de Lis. Ecclesia and stuff, and the punishment, that's not bad. You have a Super Bully for interruption with a lot of targets, I guess, Access Kotoka for the finish, but all in all, I don't know, not the strongest, I would say. Alliance of Beasts, wow, Zodiac kind of deck. Okay, I think this can definitely work a bit better because, for example, the Tri-Brigade stuff, you just have to get one into the grave and then you get all the other stuff into the grave. The non-engine that they have put in here is definitely not the best. Stuff like Scapegoat. Danger, okay, I don't know why this Danger card is here, and then Ancient Warrior is also in here, but the extra deck is quite strong. You can make, for example, if you can make a Utopic Drake Future is quite hard to out, and also having access to the Zodiac stuff is quite effective, so I think this is definitely better than the one we've seen before. And then we have I think this might be the best one. This is also one you can make Visa Starfrost Manadium deck. You can also make a Manadium deck if you have the cards for that. That is for sure. I've saw Drift Gaming making a list here. We have all the boards, we have Scareclaw stuff in here, we have also Tearlament stuff in here, which I think makes sense. You have to fill up these places and spaces somehow. A lot of strange cards, I would say, that you would normally not play, and if you would build your Manadium deck, you would definitely not play these cards, but Hand Traps or other useful non-engine like the pot that is not in here, or I dropped it, I don't know. But yeah, this could definitely also work, even though I think this will not be as strong as Branded Despia and the pure Tearlament variant. Maybe it will come close to the pure Tearlament variant, but definitely not to Branded Despia. So I think if you want to pick one of the loner decks, then you should go ahead and pick this one. This is the strongest, then this one, and then this one. They are basically perfectly ranked from strength 1 to 3 to this being the strongest one. But yeah, pick Branded Despia if you want to play the most strongest deck. But if you want to go for a budget deck, just check out the loner decks or check out your own decks and search for decks that do not play multiple or a lot of multiple copies anyways, and then you can also strip them down. Rika, for example, could also be a deck that could work. I mean, a lot of decks can obviously work. You can also make Snake Eyes work if you want to, but just be aware that the engine will be very small then, and you will have to substitute the engine with something else. And for Snake Eyes, we, for example, don't really have a substitute engine, so that's why that is maybe not the best idea. But this is the heuristic, you could say, that you can also use to find out the best deck that you can build for the most cheapest means, or with the most cheapest means, as I always basically say, don't craft anything for these festivals. This is then a net loss for you. You can gain so many resources here, which is quite nice. Don't craft anything here. Thanks for being here. This is everything for now. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell. And guys, we will see each other in the next one.